Hi, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I am Lisa Yamagata-Lynch. My academic tenure and rank is held at the Educational Psychology and Counseling Department at the professor rank. However, in 2019, I transitioned full-time as a university ombudsperson. But my academic area is online learning, and I used to be a full-time faculty in the same program that Craig was. So I'm here to talk about today's topic. So this is something that I learned the hard way initially, that the big open space in a discussion forum or a learning management system, whatever it is, a big open space lacks what we take for granted in the classroom. And while there is no way to have desks and chairs in rows or circles, whatever you're comfortable with in a face-to-face space, you still need structures that help students to engage in conversation. So the first thing that I realized I could be doing was assign roles. So make sure that students know for what purpose they're going to engage in discussion. If you don't do that, the big wide open space is just overwhelming. And even if you post a discussion question, it can be very difficult to participate. Did you want to add anything on that, Craig?
No, I'm waiting to hear you talk about structure.
Okay, the structure I have, typically, if it's a completely asynchronous assignment, is that I have a structure in time. So when are you supposed to have your initial response to a question I posted or the instructor posted? And then typically it goes back to another principle where we said we want them to engage with each other. In order for that to happen, I typically have another date in the week where students respond to somebody else's post. And I also, over the years, I learned I needed to add a little more structure that also ties into accountability as well, where if I just say, okay, just pick 3 people and respond, what would happen is, and I know that these discussion tools have made many, many evolutions, but typically in the past, it meant that maybe the most recent one showed up in the top or alphabetic, it showed up, whatever it was, students will only respond to what shows on the top. So there'll be students who then don't engage in conversation with others. So I created this scheme, I call it peer rotations. You can just call it assigned peers, but throughout the semester, what happened is every student are assigned in maybe like 5 different groups of 3 to 4, where they're accountable for each other's posting. And when I was teaching a 100 student or more, like 4 sections total with 100 students or more, this helped me in the sense, I created a policy where I said, if your peer doesn't post by the designated initial post date, then you tell me, rather than I hunt and look for who has not done their work. They tell me, and then I keep a note of who didn't meet the deadline so that I can go and check, and then I clear them, find another person to respond to. So those are some structures that I've created in the past. Expectations for the, yes. So the expectations of the group is kind of ties everything together, where if you're a member of 4 and you have assigned roles to, you're expected to make your initial post by a certain date, engage in conversation from the role you're assigned, or minimum do that role, plus if you want more, that's fine. I also say you can, after you meet the requirements within your group, you are free to comment to other people in other groups as well. But just meet your accountability responsibility within your group, and I keep it 3 or 4 so that the accountability doesn't get too diffused either. If it's like 5 or 6, sometimes students can hide or feel like they hide. Well, if nobody would notice if I didn't contribute. So those are some of the structural components that I have created in the past in online asynchronous discussion.
And building on that kind of structure, we don't have to impose it. I've explored ways of letting learners devise the accountability and devise the expectations themselves. If I simply set forward the goal and ask my learners to, okay, divide this work evenly and accomplish this goal as a group. One of these activities is in one of my courses. I actually do it in a couple different courses. Is a collaborative matrix activity where I give students the outer circle of the matrix and say, divide this in whatever way you want. Learn to work it through whatever systems you want as far as your own strategies. But once you complete the matrix as a group, everyone gets full credit. And I've found that, there's always that potential for, oh, this person's going to loaf, but I have not actually found that to be true. And when learners set the accountability for each other, what I found is not only do they live up to that, but they're also tolerant of others who have problems hitting those accountability targets, because they ask each other, look, I didn't have time, I apologize, and they'll come forward with that. And this creates a lot of ownership to their work. And I have not had a problem with the matrix activity, and they've always managed to get to the end. So
I think they
that's
become sympathetic to life circumstances too, and
yeah.
help each other. That not about the circumstance itself. It's like, okay, I'll cover this part, or they'll come to an agreement. Okay, it's okay if you did only 10% of the work compared to others, but we're gonna agree that it's okay, and we make it okay, kind of like.
Okay.